to the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast for all decision makers and action takers. Take it away, Esther.
And welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today, we're going to tell you about how to create your own podcast for your business. Take it away, Melanie.
As always.
Okay. Well, this is why you get me to start them so that you can continue.
Yes. Oh, ultimately, you have to have a whole point of doing your podcast. What is the purpose of your podcast? What do you want to talk about? What problem are you solving? So goals and objectives, like with absolutely everything else to do with marketing and promotion. What is the point of your podcast? You have to refine it. It can't be, I want to talk to people about, everything.
Yeah, well, that's what we sat down and did before launching the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. We went, right, what are we going to talk about? Marketing. When are we going to talk about it? On a Monday morning. And how are we going to do it? Is it going to be just the two of us? Is it going to be with guests? Is it going to be with people that are well known in the industry, or, up and comers, or people that we know, or, how are we going to do it all? So that's where we started. We went, okay, what are our what's the word? Strengths. Mm-hmm. What are we known for as Esther and Melanie? What are we known for separately to then bring our knowledge together? Because, I have a lot of knowledge about football, soccer that Melanie probably wouldn't. So couldn't have a podcast about footballers because Melanie would be a bit lost in that one. And
I could whoop your ass about Genshin.
Exactly. I have no clue. Right? So if you're going to do a podcast with someone else, play to your strengths and have it that, both of you are equally sharing the load on the knowledge base that you have. You can be brave and do a podcast on your own.
Well, now we're talking formats.
Right.
Now we're talking formats, because once you've got your concept, then you've got to decide, is it going to be a debate? Is it going to be solo, as you say, monologue? Is it going to be panel based, which is what we sort of do occasionally? Is it going to be a true crime? Is it going to be fictional? Is it going to be, what's his name? Steve Bartlett, who does this like deep dive interview, and it goes over many episodes.
And many hours.
Are you going to do news and trends? Are you going to be like Aaron Parnas or Dylan Page, who come up and do like a 5-minute one and that's it?
Yeah, so but they have to be always on because the news never stops.
Well, they do, definitely. So you've got to really think, once you've decided what your ultimate goal and objective is what kind of format you want to do. And honestly, stick to it, because it confuses your audience if you hop about doing different things.
Yeah. Yeah. And don't be afraid to start on one topic or genre or concept. And if it's not working, leave it and go on to another one. You don't have to exclusively have just one podcast either.
No.
So Melanie and I have this podcast together. I also have a podcast with IPA Group in Spanish, which, couldn't invite Melanie to because she doesn't speak Spanish. And I'm going to be starting another one for Social Media Fest, which is the event that I run. So you can, have many different aspects. I mean, all of mine are all about marketing. So it's common themed, but different layout and different way of doing things. What else do people need to know before they start their own podcast?
Well, before they start their own podcast, they've really got to have a good understanding of the time that they have on their hands, because if they're hoping to have a podcast done and dusted in the space of a week and they work full time and they have kids that they have to pick up and look after too, in the evenings, it's not going to happen. I can tell you that now. So having a good idea of what your time management is likely to be, because certainly when we started, and because there's two of us, so we have to appease both of us. We had discussions about branding, about colours, about font, about tone of voice, with our online messaging. We're even talking about what kind of guests, who we could approach, and methods of approaching them, because some prefer going through an agency, some prefer going direct, some just contact us. So there's a lot of toing and froing to do, and even if you're doing it
Yes.
on your own, you're at least between Esther and I, we can spread the load. And then there's all the setup as well. I mean, we wanted to have a website, and we happen to know someone who did them.
Handy that, isn't it?
That's kind of handy. So there's a lot that goes on in the background that you
not to mention the platforms that we use, because we have recorded this podcast, not this episode specifically, but over the last 6+ years, we have moved from Zoom to Anchor to Riverside to, we have recorded on lots of different places.
We did StreamYard for a while, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So we're not just set on the one place. The one thing that we did decide from the start is that it was going to be hosted on Anchor, and then Anchor got bought over by Spotify. So they made that change for us, but we decided on that because of all the extra things that Anchor gave us, and send a link to Apple and get it registered over there, and you don't have to go through some other platforms and stuff to be able to do it. It was all very streamlined through Anchor when it was back then, and I'm sure if you set up on Spotify, it's the same sort of idea, because that's why they bought it. They bought it over because it's good business for them. But then we went adding in our other platforms like YouTube. Okay, and
we weren't video first of all, were we? We were just
No.
audio.
For the first 5 years, we were purely audio. So, you don't have to go all in from the very beginning, but you do have to do a lot of work in it. So there's the editing, which again, we know someone. There's finding the music, because we had to agree on the intro music and the outro music as well.
And even if you don't agree, you've got to find the music. So are you going to pay for it, because you can pay for jingles? Or are you going to go with a free version? Or are you going to get one created?
Yes, yeah. And you can, like Melanie was saying as well with the format, is it going to be short? Like we started with 5-10 minutes. And now we seem to extend to 30 with a lot of guests, but not complaining, because they're really excellent quality guests. But bite size was always our thing from the start. If you then decide to go into hour-long episodes, or as we've done, series, we've done a couple of series over on YouTube of how to start a business and how to start your marketing. So you can branch out once you get the hang of it all, but also we divide and conquer with who does the show notes and who does the updating of the website and who does the social media posts every week, and how we can, have all that going out, and it's constant. You will constantly see something from the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast on.
So I couldn't imagine one person doing everything we do.
No.
That would
That's why agencies exist, to be able to do these things. And we do know a few people who run podcasting agencies. So we'll have one of them on in a few weeks' time, I'm sure, to continue on this topic. But a podcast should be an extension of your business. So we know, for example, Louise Brogan, we've had her on our podcast before. She runs a podcast and does lives and talks about raising your visibility online and using LinkedIn and improving your LinkedIn. That is her brand, and that's what she talks about. But she's also now branching off and doing some of the stuff that she loves, hobby-wise on YouTube. So there's nothing to say that you have to stick to what your brand is in order to have your podcast.
No.
You could do something fun. You could do a cookery show if that's what you're into.
And also another important part to consider is how you're bringing people into your podcast and how you're letting them go. Ideally with a call to action would be the best way, but are you welcoming people in, and are they there to be educated or entertained or informed, or directed? So your intro and your outro are, I'd say, probably as important as the middle bit, the actual conversation or monologue or whatever's going on in there, because it's letting your audience know what they're getting themselves in for and what they're meant to do at the end of it.
Yeah. So having the podcast is all well and good, getting it out there, distributing it, showcasing it, telling other people that it's there is one of the main things that will keep your podcast going, because if you don't have the listeners, then is there any point in doing it? Is there any, what is the statistic that I heard? 80%, at least 80% of podcasts don't make it past episode 12.
Is it as high
So
as that?
People start a podcast, and then after a few episodes, I think it's 50% drop off after the first 5. So because they realize how difficult it is, they realize that it's not just, I'll press the record button and then just throw it out into the ether and, people will find it. Because there is a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes into it. And I mean, we haven't even touched on, microphones and stuff like that, because we started with very basic equipment.
It was awful.
But it was a start, because a lot of people stumble over those things and they're like, oh, and unless I have everything absolutely perfect, I won't be doing it. I won't even start, considering doing it. But you get into the rhythm and you get into the routine of doing it, and it becomes second nature, So, because Melanie and I, at this point, it's just like, what are we talking about? What's next? What is, 6 years later, and we're still have stuff to talk about. I think that just goes to show what marketing is about.
We're also in a very lucky space as well, aren't we? Because of the subject matter that we're in, it changes so often.
Yeah.
And I do think that's an enormously helpful area to be in.
Yeah, and we know that we're not the only people who talk about marketing on a podcast.
No.
There are loads of them, and that's why you have the options of who you want to listen to. But we enjoy doing it, and that's half of the issue of showing up every week online, is doing something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
And, as long as you guys keep listening to us, then we'll keep talking to you.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you can start branching out as well, because we now have merch, as shown.
It's about time you mentioned it. It's always me.
Well, you're not wearing it today. Sure. But you can branch out. We have how to start a podcast downloads on our Etsy store, as well as the merch. So you can totally go through and, increase your brand in different ways by showing up in different places too.
Now, there's other things you need to take into consideration when setting up your business podcast. If you are going to have guests, there's a bit of prep work that you need to do. This is something we weren't fully au fait with when we first started, was it, Esther? But we need to make sure that they arrive with headphones, that they have checked their Wi-Fi, that they're in a quiet room. Because just because we've assumed we've got to make sure that they are too.
Yeah.
And ideally, do your research before you meet them as to who they are and what they do, so that you don't go, well, I know we're supposed to be talking about this, but if you can't refer to their latest talk or, their book or something like that, they're going to wonder why you brought them on.
Yeah, yeah. And there are people that will reach out to us and ask us, to be a guest on our show, because they realize too that it is valuable for them, just as much as it is for us to have guests on the show. It is valuable for them to be present and putting themselves out there on other people's podcasts. So we get guest requests every week. There's at least half a dozen guest requests coming in. We don't accept them all because of the way our podcast is structured, and that we have one guest every 3 episodes. If we accepted everybody, our year would just be filled with guest only podcasts.
And also it tends to be the same thing. It's, we get multiples about website design or multiples about VAs, and we don't
Yeah.
want all of them. We want
No.
different guests.
And we even have had people, emailing us to be a guest on the show, and has nothing to do with marketing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. So, if you're applying to either have speakers or be a speaker on someone's podcast, do your research and see if you're a good fit for them. Maybe some podcasts don't even accept guests, so don't even reach out to those ones. But having, if you're having a guest on, like Melanie says, know a bit about them. But if you're the one being a guest on the podcast, know a bit about the podcast. Know the format of it. Know how long you're going to be expected to talk for. Is it scripted? Are they going to provide you the questions beforehand? We don't script.
I think they can tell at this stage.
We just wing it. But that's our style. That's the way we do it. And that works for us. It might not work for you. And the first few episodes for our podcast were absolutely horrendous because
they were shocking.
We were still finding our feet. We were discovering what way we were going to be doing it. We have to change?
We sounded so nervous, didn't we?
We were petrified, and we weren't putting it on video. I mean, we were looking at each other, but the video wasn't going out, and it was nerve-wracking. It was almost like going up on stage for the first time and not knowing what the outcome would be and what would happen afterwards. We laugh about it now because it comes so naturally to us now. But I think because we have that other person to bounce our ideas off while we're recording, it makes it so much easier. The episodes that Melanie and I have to do on our own because the other's occupied or, sick or whatever, those are more nerve-wracking now for me anyway.
Honestly, yeah. No, I'm the same. It's so difficult to talk alone to camera because I've got so used to having you there.
Oh, love you too. But what you need to take away from this episode is...
we still need to talk equipment.
Oh, yeah. Well, we sort of touched on it.
And toys.
Ooh, toys. Like toys.
Yes.
So?
Okay. So honestly, when you first start, you don't have to have all the expensive equipment, do you?
No. No, we literally started with our AirPods.
As long as you don't mind sounding rubbish at the beginning. But it does show growth. So we've got this really poor quality, just like headphones attached to your laptop, the wired or the AirPods. Mm-hmm. And they're all right. They're okay. As long as, and you can adjust the sound in editing, you can make it sound slightly louder, but it doesn't have the same sort of quality.
Crispness.
So we opted to go for Yeti, but there are other podcasters out there that swear up and down that their brands, the ones that they go for are much better.
Yeah, because there's Rode and there's so
loads.
many. It depends on your budget as well.
Well, yeah. So we've used this Yeti, then we've replaced the Yeti when they've had their day as well. So I'm very happy with the Yeti, but I think you also need the little cover that comes,
pop filter,
the little pop cover. Then we've got an arm as well because it's better than putting it on the stand. I find the stand on the table is too low and you end up hurting your voice because you're bending down.
Yeah, I have mine up, coming downwards.
And I have mine going across, going upwards. Just personal choice.
Yep.
And
plus,
then
it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
It's a conversation starter when you're on a Zoom call or a video call with a potential client and they see you talking
up or down
through no, they see you talking through a professional mic and they're like, "Ooh, are you also a podcaster?" Like, yeah, I have a podcast. I've had a so it helps you in those situations too.
And so what other pieces of equipment do you need? Well, honestly, the rest of the stuff we use is all online. So we use Audacity to help us edit, but we've also in the past used Descript.
Yep. We also sometimes edit directly in Riverside where we've recorded.
Yeah, we can do that too. So it really depends on what we need to do, whether it's a big adjustment or a small adjustment.
Yeah.
Then we
For
use. Oh yeah,
for
you thought
the
something else?
transcripts, yeah, for the
Oh yes.
transcripting, we use Happy Scribe, which gives us the transcripts, and they go directly once the podcast has been uploaded. My darling husband has set up the automation that once the podcast has been uploaded onto Spotify, it will automatically drag it over to Happy Scribe, and then it'll be transcribed, ready to be put on the website.
And then we create show notes from the transcriptions,
Yes.
and some show notes then become blogs because they're all written in a different way and written with a different sort of vibe in mind. Then we use Missing Letter to share our posts, our social posts out onto different platforms. And we got very lucky. We were able to get a lifetime deal from AppSumo a while back. And it's literally a lifetime deal. So we're
No more money
completely
paid.
and thoroughly sorted.
Mhm.
Um,
And
we
we've
also
said
use
already,
Canva. Huh?
you use yeah, you do the images through Canva.
I do. So all the blogs and show notes, every single image that you can see for a long time, and not forever. We did have a VA helping us, but for a long time now, it's been me. So all those cleverly crafted images of me, you can see just how much interest I have in doing those images. They're amazing.
We do change them up from time to time, like the images on social media get changed and modified every
Oh,
year
those do,
or
yeah.
so. Yeah. So we change them up. We stick with our red and black and white with a hint of yellow as our brand colors, but we change up the style. And we've had
Well,
headshots taken.
we had it reformatted by a student designer who did a wonderful job about 18 months ago. So thank you, Aoife. We still appreciate the work. So yeah, it's a case
What
of
else?
being consistent, isn't it? I mean, we've got
Yeah.
the email list as well that you send emails to. We also speak, don't we?
Yes, we have been on stage talking about podcasting and how to start your podcast. And yeah, we're open to other opportunities as well when
Oh
it comes to
yes.
talking. Because we've been doing it for so long, I mean, like I said, a lot of people drop off or they do series, like small segments of them.
Mm.
But we keep our podcasts as evergreen as possible so that we can, obviously marketing changes so much, but when it comes to the basics, those will always be the same of know your audience, know who you're talking to, etc., etc. That when there are tips and advice like that, we don't say, oh, and by the way, on Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about XYZ. Keep it so that it can be shared out and you can, the amount of people that find our website because of the title topics that we have and that we share, you never know who's watching or who's listening or who's
Yep.
reading, and we have them
SEO
in all
and
those
AEO
formats.
play a role as well, don't they?
Yes, they
SEO and
do.
AEO.
And we have them in all these formats. So we have the audio version going out, we have the shorts going out, we have the video going out, we have the transcript, we have the show notes, we have the blog, we have the social media posts, because everyone consumes their information in different formats. So recording once and sending it out in all these different formats at the end of the day saves you an awful lot of time. There is a lot of time goes into it. We maybe spend 2 or 3 hours a week on a 20-minute episode
Easily.
because it is all the other things that go on behind it. But that's why we keep them 20 minutes or slightly over. Because otherwise, the longer they go, the more editing, the more tweaking, the more like stuff that you have to do. So,
oh, and you could get sponsorship as well.
yes, we've had sponsorships before as well. We've had Agora Pulse, we've had Feed Alpha, we've had Stomp, social media training, we've had IPA Group. All of these businesses have sponsored us, and I'm sure we'll have more in the future too. But yeah, just my advice would be just do it. Just start it. What's the worst that can happen?
And if you don't like, I mean, it's inevitably pre-recorded. I mean, you can go live if you'd like.
Could,
I think
yeah.
that would be quite brave doing it the first time live. But, you know, doing the pre-recording means that you can redo something. I mean, we've recorded whole episodes and then there's been no sound.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Or
And when it's
one of
not
our-
scripted, then it's
Yeah.
harder to remember what you actually said.
Or the Riverside has let us down, or StreamYard has let us down, or my computer,
Yeah, the camera.
battery died. Or, well, yeah, I lost my camera halfway through one. That was hilarious. Not. Then there's Wi-Fi issues because of weather. I mean, just because we've been doing this a long time and we sound polished.
I think the word you're looking for is nonchalant.
That's the one. It doesn't mean we haven't hit some roadblocks along the way. Of course we have.
Yeah. And we've also grown and changed and developed. Like previously I wouldn't have, drank a cup of tea in the middle of it. Now it's part of it. Drinking a cup of tea is part of my whole life, So why not do it online and, share it as well? So, don't be afraid to have to scratch your nose or mute yourself to sneeze or, the doorbell rings. You're human.
The only thing I draw the line at is cat butts.
That's why you've closed yourself off from your cats. Yeah.
Yes.
Mine don't have any boundaries either. But
I thought you were going to say no butts then.
Boundaries. No, but my dogs have appeared in several episodes.
They have.
Their
Just
tail
noise.
has been and noise, yeah. But these things are inevitable when, like Melanie and I, we work from home and we record from home. When Melanie was in her office, the door would knock or the fire alarm would go off.
Oh, God, I remember that episode.
Things happen. You're only human, and it's best to show your human side as well.
We hope you find this useful, and there's no better time. I know you may feel that you've left it too late, and hey, maybe you have, but do you know what? You're only as good as the information you put out and the audience that's prepared to listen to you. So just do it. Life's short, and you'll surprise yourself. We certainly surprised ourselves.
That's it for today, guys. Thanks for listening. And if you've made it this far in the episode, don't forget to go to our Etsy store and look at the information that we have there. Grab yourself the How to Start Your Podcast download. That is available there for a very reasonable price.
And shirt.
And yes, and grab a t-shirt and show your loyalty that way too. Until next week, bye-bye. Bye. I forgot to say they can also wave in the middle of the episode and,
I always do it.